Welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Taylor and today we're trying to figure out my favorite book of all time because everyone always asks me that question, but today we're going to be doing it by battling out all my 5-star reads in a bracket. But before I open the video, remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you love all things books. So when I check StoryGraph, I have like 38 5-star reads logged in there. Obviously, there are 32 slots on here. Some got left off because I no longer support those authors anymore, and then some just got combined into their series, respectively. Heartstopper takes up a lot of this bracket because I don't have enough 5-star reads yet to just kind of break that up. So we will go through every Heartstopper volume, which I do think I'm going to do like a full spoiler reading vlog of rereading Heartstopper next year when the movie and the final book come out. So if you want to see that, we can do that. But the way the bracket works is we're going to have I think the first is 16 head-to-head battles, and then we'll just get successively forward. I think I have an idea of who's going to win. But again, I have some new 5-star reads this year. As of July 20th is when I'm filming this. And maybe we'll revisit this next year, a year later, after we've gained some more 5-star reads, hopefully. And obviously, when I was a kid, there were a bunch of books that I read that would definitely be considered 5 stars. But these are the books that I have read as of getting back into reading as an adult. So I guess without further ado, let's hop into our first battle. So round 1, we have Heartstopper Volume 1 versus 12th Night. Heartstopper Volume 1 is the first graphic novel in, the Heartstopper series, and this one we are following Nick and Charlie getting to meet each other for the first time. And this is the first half of Heartstopper Season 1. Then in 12th Night, this is a recent 5-star read. This is by Alexine Farrell-Fulmuth. We are following Viola Reyes and Jack Orsino, who are president and VP of their school council, and V is essentially considered for lack of a better word, she gets called a bitch a lot because she is a very assertive, very strong-minded, very intelligent woman who kind of just takes over everything. And Jack is the popular guy in school. He's very loved. He has a great family history. He's on the football team. But when things go unseemingly wrong in Jack's life, he connects with V in very different ways. I think I have to say 12th Night, while more recent, I think my question is Heartstopper Volume 1 my favorite in the series is the question. I think what we're going to choose is 12th Night in this instant. That felt wrong. Okay. We have The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, which is the first in a trilogy, and we are following, as you see, I have terrible time remembering names, so the further on we get in this, you're going to see me start to forget names. Okay, I think it's Runan, something with an R. But essentially, you're following her. She is born a war orphan, and then she tests into the greatest military academy in Nicara at Senegard. And while she is there, she discovers all these magical secrets about shamans and shamanism and herself. And of course, being called the Poppy War, a war breaks out, and she has to deal with the horrors and trials of war. Then, highly suspicious and unfairly cute, you're following Brad and Celine. They used to be best friends growing up, but when middle school, high school came around, it is a British story, so I don't really know the breakup of that. But around that time, they parted ways, Celine kind of feeling like she's too weird for Brad, and Brad going off into the popular sports crowd situation. And when they are both seeking out a scholarship from the Catherine Breakspear program, they are both sent on this sort of wildlife competition, outdoorsy skill competition, and they are both forced to work and sort of live together for that brief period of time, and feelings resurface. I have to give it to the Poppy War on this one. I love Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute. I have to really think though if objectively the Poppy War in terms of writing and some of the feelings it gave me, yeah. Okay, so I had to shorten this because it just wouldn't fit, but A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tamar by Laura Taylor Namey. This one we are following Lilo Reyes. She is a Cuban American girl who basically just went through a best friend breakup, an actual breakup, and the loss of her grandmother. And basically, the weight of all this grief and turmoil has gotten to her. And one night, when she just basically runs until she just runs her body ragged, and that worries her family. So they send her off to London to spend the summer there with her aunt and uncle. And while she is there, not only does she get to like explore her passion for cooking and sort of what life outside of Miami is like, she discovers a new love in Orion Maxwell. Then we have North Ranger by Ray Terciero, and I believe, okay, and illustrated by Brie Indigo. This is a graphic novel. This is one of my most recent 5-star reads. We are following Caleb, who is a Mexican American growing up in rural Texas, and he is queer, but he is not openly out to his family or his friends, but he has to spend the summer helping his stepdad on his stepdad's friend's ranch. And while he's there, he starts to fall for the ranch owner's son, who is also not out, even though he would like to be. So this is the thing. North Ranger with its newness. I just feel like some of these newer reads aren't going to have like this nostalgia that some of these older reads do. I think both of these are great summer reads, but I definitely feel like A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow has a place in my heart. This one's a little unfair. So we have This Winter, which is the Heartstopper novella that takes place sort of around or after, like sort of in the middle of book 4 situation. This is obviously following their Christmas after Charlie was going through his hard time. This one really pulled at my heartstrings, and if you really want to like get in depth into the Spring family, go for it. Legendborn, on the other hand, I feel like it might win this bracket, but I need to see where it places up against some of the newer stuff. But Legendborn is following Bree. She recently lost her mother in a car accident, so she is spending the summer in a college program at UNC, and while she's there, she witnesses something on campus that leads her to believe that something is up with her mother's death. And of course, this is a King Arthur reimagining, so she is brought into the Legendborn Society, and you kind of learn the inner workings of that, but they're essentially all descendants of King Arthur and his court, and Bree is sort of training to take over one of those positions. I will say I have to pick Legendborn. I mean, it's going up against a novella. What was I going to do? Oh, Heartstopper Volume 4. So this is probably the most like heart-shattering of all the Heartstopper novels. It deals a whole lot with Charlie and his mental health. And then Mistletoe by Kimberly Lemming. This is a cutesy little like Christmas monster novella that takes place after the first Mead Mishaps book. If you happen to be reading those around Christmas, I don't think it's like necessary to read like out like in order of like book 1, book 1.5, and then book 2, book 3, because Mistletoe kind of just like is a cutesy little something to put in there. I'm going to go with Heartstopper Volume 4. Although if you want a 5-star Christmas novella for me, like if you're really in that series, I would go with that one. That Self-Same Metal by Brittany M. Williams versus Heartstopper Volume 5. Heartstopper Volume 5 is what we got to see at the end of this last season. It is the Nick Nelson road trip and sort of them having to come to terms with all the things that took place after book 4. I believe they're also experiencing like exploring like sex and sexuality for the first time here. Let's see. And That Self-Same Metal by Brittany M. Williams is following Joan, who is the fight master of the Globe Theater. This is a historical fantasy. And she's been blessed by the Orisha god Ogun to essentially create metal or iron out of her hands at will. And when the accords between Fae and human are broken, she is the only thing that stands between, you know, Fae killing human, because she has the mortal blow. Oh, this, I'm gonna, I have to think. Because I loved That Self-Same Metal, but the second book was not quite a 5-star read for me. But Heartstopper Volume 5, I have a fondness for it. I feel Heartstopper Volume 5 is taking that one. I'll need to reevaluate my answers once I get the final book in the trilogy. Then we have Final Offer by Lauren Asher. This is the third and final book in the Dreamland Billionaires series. This is following, I want to say Cal. Feels like it. Cal is dealing with alcoholism. He obviously has an addiction. He is the youngest of the brothers, and his sort of task that he had to complete is spend the summer at like sort of the lake house and get it ready to sell. The only catch is when he arrives there, his past love, the love of his life, his best friend that he hasn't seen in a while because he kind of effed it up, is living there and also owns part of that house. So now they have to sort of cohabitate for the summer, while also Cal having to deal with the fact that he needs to sell it and get over and work through some of his other issues. I don't know if this would stand as a 5-star read today, but there are some themes in here that are discussed that really, really get to me, particularly oh, come on, son. Really? Okay. Then Every Time You Hear That Song by Jenna Forrest. This is also another one that I don't know if it would stand as a 5-star read if I read it again, but the vibes were so immaculate when I did read it last year that it is where it is. This is following a dual timeline. In the present timeline, we are following Darren, whose mother may or may not be, experiencing cancer again. So she sets off on this big road trip with her friend to find this long-lost time capsule of Deckley Castle, the major country star who just passed away. And in the past timeline, we're following Deckley Castle's rise to fame in 1960s, 1970s country, while she also has a secret sapphic life. And you're essentially following the two different love stories that are going on intermittently, with one coming to terms with her bisexuality and coming out, and the other one trying to hide her sapphic identity from the world. For this one, I'm going to choose Every Time You Hear That Song. Zodiac Rising versus Heartstopper Volume 3. Now, here's the thing about Heartstopper Volume 3. In theory, I can remember what happens, but I don't remember too much about it. That's the one volume that I'm like, what took place? I know that this one, this is the Paris trip. Yes, why do I always forget the Paris trip? She was cute. Zodiac Rising was my first 5-star read of this year. This is by Katie Zhao. This is sort of a mythical, magical YA heist, like found family novel. You're following this group of individuals who are essentially descendant of the Chinese zodiac. And back in, I think it was like the Second Opium War, something went wrong and basically cursed them to be like monsters or humans for the rest of their life. And so we've got a vampire, a werewolf, a fox spirit, and then a human situation. If you've recently watched K-pop Demon Hunters, I feel like you would like this. I don't know that I have actively explained this very well. I am going to choose Zodiac Rising for that one though. So then we have Mixed Signals by B.K. Borison. This is the third book in the Love Light Farm series, and it follows Caleb and Layla. Caleb has been infatuated with Layla pretty much ever since she arrived to town. He's essentially, I think, like the deputy police officer. I don't know if his job stays that way throughout the series, but I think that's where he is. I mean, I can be completely wrong. But every morning, every week, he basically comes in there and orders some sort of like fancy cake from her shop. And Layla's out here like thinking like, I can't date anyone in town, but I'm also super unlucky in love. So when they run into each other one night after one of Layla's failed dates, Caleb's like, well, why don't we just like go on some practice dates? And lots of fun times ensue from there. Caleb is in fact like a top tier book boyfriend. Should I do like a top book boyfriends list? Let me know. But then we have Only for the Weak and Rome. This is from this year, and I cannot forget that, like, this man, Rome, the man that you are. This is by Natasha Bishop, and you're following Rome and what's her name? Janelle? I think it's Janelle. Is it? I'm going with Janelle. I may be wrong. Janelle and Rome are on this vacation the week before their best friend's wedding. The only thing is that Janelle's sister is marrying her ex-boyfriend. And while Janelle couldn't care less, her parents and her family seem to think that she's really hung up on this idea. So in order to sort of like, to help her forget, Rome offers an Only for the Week, no strings attached. Well, technically, Janelle offers this. Rome wants more, situation. And of course, the no strings attached turns into a lot of strings attached. It's very steamy, very lovely. Only for the Week takes this one. Then we have Two Twisted Crowns versus Mead Mishaps, Book 1. So Two Twisted Crowns is the second book in the Shepherd King's duology. Now that I think about it, maybe One Dark Window could also be 5 stars. I gave it 4.75 stars. I just really liked it. I feel like that the second book in a series is in fact make or break in this one. It is a duology. So in the series, you're following girl whose name I forget. I do think her love interest is named Raven, though. I don't know. But essentially, you're living in this world where magic is ruled by this deck of cards. And if you have the card, if you tap on it, you are blessed with this power. However, there's been a lot of issues going wrong because people are getting sick. But if they survive the sickness, they gain some sort of magical power. And the king is like, no, no, no. So our main character has to hide the fact that she has magical powers. And that being that she can absorb the power of any card that she touches. And when she absorbed the nightmare card, she now has the voice of a very dead person in her head. And you know what? She has to join forces to help bring down this tyrant king. Me and Miss Hap's book 1 is That Time I Got Drunk and... That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon. Yes, that's the first book. It's somewhere up here. And this one we are following Cinnamon, I think is her name. They are all named after foods. Cinnamon, she is walking home one night and is almost attacked. Well, she saves a demon, then is almost attacked by him, then discovers that Cinnamon breaks the demon's spell. And so now she has been recruited by this demon, aka Dragon, to help bring down the witch who has trapped him and his fellow people for the rest of eternity, you know. And of course, lots of spicy demon stuff ensues from there. I can't not choose Mead Mishaps. I love that series. Whoo! Caught Up by Liz Tomford. We have Daddy Kai. Kai is a baseball player who recently found out that he has a kid. Now he's gone for full Dadzilla mode. No nanny can live up to his standards. So when his coach is like, hold up, my daughter is in town for the summer trying to figure out her next step, she is going to be your nanny and you're going to deal with it. And of course, Miller, she is very much so career-driven woman. She knows what she wants. She wants to have a good time and not a long time. And Kai's like, I can't get involved. But when Kai catches feelings and, Miller's like, I can't stay, lots of things ensue from there. But hey, listen, the ending love confection, if you want to build a home, scene sticks with me. The Brown Sisters trilogy by Talia Hibbert. Now, not all of these books are 5 stars for me. The second book isn't my favorite in the series, but all of them are great. We are following Chloe Brown, Eve Brown, and what's her name? Danny Brown. They are all 3 sisters who are dealing with separate things in their life, trying to find love in the most unusual ways, I guess. In the first one, you're following Chloe Brown, who's trying to get a life, and she is essentially ticking off this list of things that she wants to do with her building manager named Red, In the second book, we're following Danny Brown, who gets stuck in a PR stunt with her friend, and of course, little friends to fake dating to lover situation ensues. Then the last one is Eve Brown, who's basically been put on a deadline to start acting her age. So she actually accidentally stumbles upon a job in a little bed and breakfast, and, a little, opposites attract situation occurs. Caught Up. I love Caught Up. Powerless by Elsie Silver. We are following Jasper and Sloane, who have been best friends their whole life, but because of the age difference, Jasper never really saw her as a potential love interest. But I think we're following them almost more than a decade later, and Jasper is now pining for her, and Sloane is still pining for Jasper, but she's decided to move on by marrying the guy that her dad thinks she should marry. But hold up. The day of, she finds some things out, and she calls up Jasper and I need to blow this joint. We need to leave. And then they basically get stuck in a little forced proximity situation, and lots of things ensues from there. However, there's this problem of it's going up against The Right Move by Liz Tomforde. Ryan Shea, The Man That You Are. Another forced proximity situation. So we have Ryan Shea. He is the brother extraordinaire, and when his sister says, hey, my best friend just got broke up with her longtime partner because she found out he was cheating on her, and she needs a place to stay, can you give her my old room? And Ryan's like, sure. And when Indy moves in, they couldn't be more opposites attract situation. But Ryan needs someone as a fake date to prove to his coach boss something I don't really remember what he needs to prove, but things ensue from there. So, Right Move. I'm not explaining most of these very well. We have the Mindfuck series by S.T. Abbey. Oh, names escape me too on this one. But essentially, Lana. We're following Lana. We're following Lana Myers, who dealt with a lot of trauma as a teenager. And she's basically dedicated her life now to killing all the men who wronged her and her family. So the only problem is she falls for the FBI agent who is hunting her down. But he doesn't realize it's her until much, much later in the series. This is a series of 5 novellas, and I will say check trigger warnings for this one. You know, it's labeled as erotica, but you know what? I've read much more erotic and spicy stories. But the gore, she doesn't hold back. Cruel Winter with You by Allie Hazelwood. This is a Christmas novella, friends to lovers. It's always been you situation. I think that's pretty much the best way to describe it. It's less than 100 pages. I'm going to choose the Mindfuck series. You'll find that I like a good cheesy Christmas romance every time. Then we have my most recent 5-star read, which is Interview with a Vampire, Claudia's story. Now, I haven't read the Interview with a Vampire series, but I am addicted to the show. I'm addicted to the show so much. And this was free on my Kindle Unlimited app, and when I'm at work, I tend to read graphic novels at lunchtime. It's 5-star. It was good. I knew the story. I have seen the show. Redeemed by Lauren Asher. Santiago. I think it's Santi and Chloe is the names. But you're following Santiago. This is the last book in the Dirty Air series. And he is dealing with the trauma of the aftermath of what you read in the prologue. So he's sort of secluded himself out into the world. And one day, Chloe accidentally rolls up on his property, trying to spy on the person next door, who she thinks may be her father. And then, out of a weird circumstance, Santiago needs her to be his fake girlfriend. So they sort of fake this whole relationship that turns into more. I'm going to choose Redeemed. So we have Mead Mishaps 2 versus Mead Mishaps 3. I don't know how that ended up back to back. But Mead Mishaps 2 was that time I got drunk and needed a love potion at a werewolf. We're following Bree. She's named after cheese, I'm pretty sure. And Felix, the werewolf. Felix thinks he's found his fated mate, and Bree's like, hold up. You just got hit with a love potion. We gotta hold off and find some things. And then Mead Mishaps 3 is that time I got drunk and saved a human. You're following Dante, a dragon, who saves Cherry from the Tower of Dragon, who kidnapped her. And lots of things ensue from there. So, which did I like more, is the question. I think I like the second one more. Oh, by the way, do read Mead Mishaps in order, just because, frankly, I guess technically they can be read as standalones, but the story continues. There's a storyline that does continue between the three. So do read that one. Then we have Business Casual by B.K. Boris, and this is the final book in the Love Light Farm series. You're following Nova and Charlie. Nova is a girl who doesn't like to get attached to anything. She's currently in the process of opening her own tattoo parlor. And Charlie is the brother of the girl from the first book. Name escapes me. And he's kind of always the good time guy. So one night when Nova proposes a little bit of a, friends with benefits, no strings attached situation, Charlie's like, what's going on? But also, they kind of fall into that, and then they just kind of fall into some more. Then Heartstopper Volume 2 is the second half of Season 1. This is this is the we become boyfriends situation. I'm going to choose Business Casual for that. Alright, so let's move on into the rapid fire finishing up. So we have 12th Night versus the Poppy War. Easy, the Poppy War is going to take this one. This is going to go by relatively quickly. Human Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow and Legendborn. I'm going to choose Legendborn. I'm sad to see the Cuban Girl's Guide to go so quickly. Heartstopper Volume 4 versus Heartstopper Volume 5. I'm going to go Volume 4. Does it say something about me that I chose the really sad one? Every Time You Hear That Song versus Zodiac Rising. Honestly, I think I'm going to go with Zodiac Rising. There's just something about that. The ending of that one stuck with me. Only for the Week versus Mead Mishaps. What? Oh, we got Spicy versus Spicy. I have such an attachment to Mead Mishaps 1, but I do fear Only for the Week has really climbed up there for me. Oh no! I have to see what I think of Rewind It Back when I read it, but Caught Up versus The Right Move. I'm always debate on... I think I have to go with Ryan Shea. The Mindfuck series versus Redeemed. I'm going with the Mindfuck series. That one will always be an all-time fave. Mean Mishaps 2 versus Business Casual. I think Charlie and Nova really have taken my heart. I'm so sad to see like the Mean Mishap series to have gone already. All right, next round. The Poppy War versus Legendborn. Now this is the one that I fear I don't know quite yet. I think I need to finish the Poppy War, get further in it to see how, like, get through book 2 and see. But right now, Legendborn. Heartstopper Volume 4 versus Zodiac Rising. I think Zodiac Rising. I just am so excited to see where that series goes, and I love me a good heist found family situation. Only for the Weak versus the Right Move. Oh no. I can't tell if recency bias is taking me here or if nostalgia. I have to go with the Right Move. Mindfuck series versus Business Casual. I think I'm going with Mindfuck. Although Business Casual can stand her own. Okay. Second last battle. We have Legendborn versus Zodiac Rising. These are both great series, but I have to choose Legendborn in this case. And then we have The Right Move versus the Mindfuck series. I think I'm going to choose The Right Move. I feel in my gut that that's what's happening. Now we have The Right Move versus Legendborn. I don't know. Would I consider this my type? Do you know what I find interesting? There is one book that was left off here that would have taken the place of The Right Move. I just realized that it's not there, and that's Red, White, and Royal Blue. Yeah. Honestly, the Red, White, and Royal Blue probably would have been the best contender to go up against Legendborn, but since I forgot it, Legendborn wins. So, if Red, White, and Royal Blue weren't here, and Heartstopper series probably was combined, they probably would have been much further at the top. But hey, Legendborn. Legendborn is our number one. I feel like that surprises absolutely no one. That's the one that I thought would win. So yeah. I guess let me know if you were to battle it out with all of your 5-star favorite reads from the years, what would turn out to be your top read? And do we have some similar top reads? Legendborn, Red, White, and Blue, The Right Move, Kuma Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow, and Heartstopper? I don't know. I'll probably have to do like a video of like my top 10 favorite books of all time. Who knows? But let me know what yours are in the comments down below, and I will see y'all in the next one.